Welcome back to this introduction to Vectorworks. I'm going to begin this video by saving. You can save from the file menu, or you could do as I did and click on Command S on my Mac. It's probably Control S on a Windows computer. And I'm going to name it something very particular so I know what it is. Now, this may seem like a joke, but I know later on if I find this thing, I know it's not important because it's not actually communicating any useful information. You, however, should save it as something that is useful for you. For instance, let's say you are designing a set for Murder on the Orient Express. You can call it Murder Set. Or something probably less alarming should your parents or the FBI come across your folder. The important thing is you'll want to save it as something different, especially if you're taking a file that I have given you, for instance, the file of the stage here at Waco High. You're going to want to save it as a different file so you're not saving over that file. And what we're going to do next is we are going to alter one of these shapes. So I'm using my rectangle tool and I'm clicking here on this editable surface. You know it's editable because it's turned blue. And while it's blue, I'm going to do this. And I am going to, as I did before, tab. And let's say that I want 2 feet, which is 24 inches. And we know that this is 3 feet tall, but I want it about half of that. So let's say 18 inches. I'm going to create and hit it one more time. There we go. I've created this shape. Now, because I've just created it, I can now push-pull without having to select the push-pull tool, and I can pull out however much of this I want. Now, let's say I want it to be half of this one here. There. You see, prior to that, it's kind of rubber banding back and forth, but once I go there, it kind of snaps in. And it also tells us that it's going to be 2 feet. We're going to continue right along editing these shapes. What I'm doing here is I'm just hitting the space, and I'm able to move the workspace around. And what I would like to do is I'd actually like to, instead of add to this one, I'd like to take a section out. And I want to do it right here from the midpoint, and I want to come and take out this section right here, creating almost a step from here to the next section up to the final platform. Now I know that this one is 18 inches tall, this one is 36 inches tall, so halfway between the two would be 9. 9 is not an obscene height for a step. Somewhere between 6 and 9 is pretty good. A 12-foot step is pretty difficult, and you don't want actors thinking about how high this step is because you don't want them tripping. You want them focusing on what they're doing. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a section out. I'm going to start here at the midpoint, and now I can tab over and dial this in if I like, but I know right there. Now you see it's actually going, snapping to another point. I want it to snap to this point here. And I know that I want this to go 12 inches to the right and 4 feet down from that origin point. And so I've created the surface here. I can pull it up and continue to build on the surface, but I actually want to build down. Now, because we don't really have a halfway point for it to snap to, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put -9, enter, enter, and then we've taken a chunk out. So we actually have a 1 foot step. It's 1 foot, and its length from here to here. And as you recall, this is 9 inches here to here. So it's only a 9-inch step, but from here to here, I'm going to go ahead and save my backups. From here to here is 18 inches, and that's kind of extreme. So what I could do is I could probably build a step off here. I don't want to build in because it's going to cut in, and then it's still like this angle. This step is going to be pretty dramatic. So if I wanted to, I can build a step out here, or if if I wanted to cut away again, I can cut away a section here. Because cutting away means essentially you're taking these standard sizes of like 4x8 and 4x4 and cutting them up and potentially having material that you can't reuse, I'm actually going to add a step here. And I'm going to click there on that editable surface and click one more time. Now, I don't actually have to dial it in because I have all these points that I'm snapping to that makes it nice and easy. And I'm going to bring that out 1 foot. Now, it just so happens I pulled it out a foot. It's not actually snapping to anything. It was just luck of the pull. Again, if I wanted to, I can have some random distance and then tab in 12 inches. So we have a 1 foot long tread. It's 1 foot from here to here. It's 4 feet wide. That's how wide that is. And it is 9 inches here, 9 inches here, 9 inches there, 9 inches here. So none of those are really awful extreme steps. But let's say we're not really satisfied with the design here. We want something a little nicer. Let's build a column coming out of here that we could decorate. So we'll take our circle tool and we can start from the midpoint and come out. Let's say, let's say 12 inches. Again, we can tab in right there. Now I realize that it's not actually a 12-inch column. It's a 12-inch radius. So we are taking up 2 feet from here to here. So it's a total of 24-inch diameter. And that doesn't work for us. So I can come over here and I can alter that because you see radius is 12 inches or a foot, but the diameter is 2 feet. But I don't want it to be just a foot in diameter. I want maybe a little bit of that base to remain. Let's say we only want about 3 inches at the base. So I can actually dial that in as 18 inches. And so it's not quite half. And you can see that it is still editable. And for the sake of just making things up, let's say we have a 6-foot actor that stands on that top platform. So we want it to be taller than the actor. Let's say we have the material and we can easily do that. So I'm going to make that a 10-foot tall. There we go.